And then me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our neck of the woods. I am Rachel Cordell, or Majora's Rose on Twitch, and I'm here with the wonderful, incredible, amazing Matt Stormcrow. Hello, how are you, friend?
I'm doing great after an introduction like that.
Well, I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? With like what we're about to talk about today?
I try to keep humble, otherwise I can't get my head through the door.
No, just get a bigger door. Just
I like how you think.
always a positive angle. What's up, chat? For everyone watching, we are in two different places. Ooh, ah. We are live on my Twitch, Majora's Rose, and we are also live with the JackalopeLARP Instagram page, so you can find us in multiple places or both. Boost those numbers. But yay! But yeah, so today we're here to talk about Jackalope LARP, and I'm gonna just stutter on that every time. And the upcoming event that you guys are doing, Coven 1934. I am freaking so excited to go to this. And there's so much to talk about in regards to it, but I feel like we kind of are doing a little bit of serving here in terms of like we could explain what is all of this nonsense about? Why are both of us, but also me because I'm talking, so excited about about this event? Gosh, where do we even want to begin? We were
Oh,
saying like we start with the LARP and then we move through.
yeah, let's not assume people know how LARP works. Like, people might know
Mhm.
how TTRPGs work, and then there's like how some LARPs work versus how Coven in 1934 and the Nordic collaborative style LARPs work, and then we can talk about how cool Coven 1934 is. Though, just to give a slight preview, Dust Bowl, Texas occult horror, dark Americana. That's where we're going with this.
Are
A
you
little bit of
serious?
Clive Barker, a little bit of Stephen King, a little bit of Dark Tower, maybe that kind of stuff.
It literally gives me chills. I am freaking excited. But yes, so LARPing. For those of you who don't know, live action role play. I said in this video that I did recently, it's a game. It's a game. Because I feel like people hear LARP and they think of like nerds in the woods throwing like paper balls at each other, going fireball, fireball. Is that what it is?
Yeah, those battle games are a LARP. I mean, LARP is any game in which you take on a role and you physically embody that role in a space that's built to embody that space in. So if you're running around with foam swords in the woods as Michael the Paladin, that is LARP. That's a form of LARP. It's called Boffer LARP, and that's certainly one of the most popular forms of LARP. But LARP is far more expansive than just that. LARP is like any type of immersive theatrical experience where you embody as a player one of the characters. That's what divides it from other immersive experiences where, like, if you go to Meow Wolf or what's that big one in New York, Sleep No More,
Yeah.
you're not given a character to play, right? You immerse yourself in this environment, and there's actors who are portraying people who will react to you, but you're not given that you're Mr. So and so and you're going to do this, right? um and what sets LARP about is that the audience is a participant and the audience is a
Yeah.
character, right? And so you get to embody a character in this space, often for hours and hours, if not entire weekends, doing this sort of stuff. And it's frankly, I think it's the greatest show on earth because it is this complete 360 experience,
Yes.
and you get to see and feel and become immersed as another person and experience life as that other person.
So is this something where like if um I guess I'm kind of thinking of like, people hear immersive, or people hear like, the audience is everyone around you. So like, do you have to be like a performer to do this kind of thing, or?
I mean, not really. No. I mean, there are a lot of people who are like theater kids who LARP, right? But it's not like you have to be a great performer. And in fact, what you'll find very quickly is that as you become more immersed and in a character, it becomes easier and easier to just react instinctively as them,
Yeah,
right? And you can play a character who is just an aspect of yourself. And you can find parts of yourself that inform the character. So, when you get scared, they get scared. When, you get, surprised, they're surprised, because you are in this, like in the kind of LARPs we do, we create this 360 illusion, this the dream LARP is Westworld, right? That's like the ultimate LARP, where you're
yeah,
completely immersed by this complete world, where you're given a character and you can play out plot lines and all that. And we try to get we rent spaces and create spaces where you feel like you're where you're supposed to be. For instance, in Coven 1934, we're renting out a ghost town in Manor, Texas, that looks like an old west town, and we're gonna string up some like old Edison style bulbs and stuff like that, and we're gonna make it into a 1930s Dust Bowl town. And you're able to wander around it, you're able to look at it. You can wander off the property, and it's, obviously 2025, but we're giving you as much of
yeah.
that illusion as we can. And in one of our other signature games, which is The Night in Question, is supposed
I
to be
want to
at a
go there.
rave in the 90s,
Uh
in
huh.
this rockabilly, like ramshackle party space. It's a rave out in the middle of nowhere, and we create a dance floor and string up dance lights and all this other stuff in the field, out in the field, with a fake like LARP city out in Texas, and out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So what we're trying to do is create that immersion so that you don't have to be an actor. You don't have to imagine that much. You're
Yeah,
surrounded by the illusion.
that's very fair. Also, to talk about, I just want to jump to the set for a second. Did I hear that the set for Coven 1934 was used in The Walking Dead?
Yes, it was.
Come on, are you
Well,
kidding me?
Fear the Walking Dead. It was used
Fear
in
the
Fear
Walking
the
Dead.
Walking Dead.
I'm
Yeah,
so
it
sad.
was used in Fear the Walking Dead. It was used in the Westworld immersive event they had at South by Southwest several years ago.
So cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. It's got a chapel building. It's got a dance hall. It's got two saloons. It's got stables. It's got a blacksmith shop. It's got a whole bunch of different stuff.
That's so freaking cool. By the way, I'm noticing we have chats popping off on Twitch, as well as Instagram. So we have a lot of your server in the Twitch net.
Hello, Jackalopes. How you doing? Lovely for you
um
to be here.
just welcome, welcome. And just for everyone watching and chatting and stuff like that, I'm gonna do my best to oversee, but the conversation is real. I am also posting on my story. Hold on. We have live, come on. Just quickly.
Marketing.
Marketing. Love it. Oh my god. I feel like I'm like an extra level right now because I'm just literally like, I'm obsessed with like, I have been LARPing for several years now. Um, I started actually as a Renaissance Fair worker. I worked at the New York Renaissance Fair for a bunch of years, and my friends were attending Beakeline, which it's funny because we were having a conversation about Beakeline recently, not you and me, but um, and who I was speaking to said that Beakeline isn't a LARP, and I was just kind of like, yeah, because it doesn't really have the role play element to it. But I just attended Drakenfest for the first time, and
Mhm.
that, like, you're playing a character. Like, there's no.
Also, all hearts to Jack and Fest. Jack
Yes.
and Fest is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, and there's something too where like, out of LARP, like Beakeline, there wasn't really like, I mean, there's kind of a character creation, but not really anything too hard. Drakenfest, you actually had a character sheet and you had a little bit of like freedom to decide what classes you were going to play and stuff like that. And then with is the night in question like Coven 1934? Do you provide characters for that one as well, or?
Yeah, one of the things that kind of like defines the bespoke style immersive games that we do, the Nordic style games, is
Yeah.
that um, we create an environment because you have in Night in Question, it's 8 hours,
Mhm.
right? And in Coven 94, it's going to be 2 days,
Yeah.
so everything needs to pop off immediately.
Yes.
Right. It's not like a campaign game where things can slow roll and stuff like that. So what we do is we have pre-written characters and pre-written stuff for people to set up a situation which is already primed to go.
Yeah.
Right. And we cast people into roles or have them select characters from the using our system where they choose what they want to play.
Cool. Yeah, and so is that like in LARPing across the spectrum, we've kind of like, shown that there's kind of different levels. Um the purpose of having like these pre-generated characters kind of helps create the narrative of the world very very quickly, like you were saying, yeah.
Yeah. And it makes it so that you play characters which are appropriate for the setting. Like, the night in question is, Ravers in 1998, and but Coven 1934 is going to be, we're going to provide you the background to play. It's historic cool.
Mhm.
It's the accuracy is Hollywood level,
Mhm.
but we're making it so that you're playing accurate characters and appropriate characters for
Cool.
the timeline and the time, while also and more importantly excluding things that we don't want to deal with that would technically be appropriate but we're not touching and we don't want to introduce into the game. So
We have a little bit. Thank you, Smush, for asking questions, by the way, because that gives me an idea of what we need to touch on. So you mentioned Nordic LARPing. Would you like go into what Nordic LARPing is versus like other forms of LARP?
Nordic LARPing gets its style because it originated in the Nordic countries, Scandinavia, that area, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and it's kind of populated out to the Nordic style is defined by an emphasis on emotional depth and immersion,
Hmm.
on uh, you get in trouble trying to say what Nordic LARP is because it's actually kind of a contentious subject. But the emphasis is on mechanics light, their rules light. They emphasize more drama and interpersonal conflict
Hmm.
versus mechanics, running around casting fireball, that sort of thing. So they're set up more like an immersive theatrical experience that you
Cool.
get to participate in, as opposed to if you look at Bickling or to a certain extent Drakenfest. So Drakenfest does have really cool immersive moments in it. There isn't this idea of you're here to have battles and stuff like that.
Yeah. 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 Um, but battles don't necessarily like. What am I trying to say here? Just because there aren't battles doesn't mean that there isn't intense conflict.
Right. There's intense emotional conflict. And also, in the collaborative style, we have a collaborative rule set, is that there's two types of rules, right?
Hmm.
There's and you can mix and match them in the similar rule set, but we have collaborative style. There's competitive or conflict based rules resolution, and there's collaborative resolution. And conflict based means you and I go up together. If you played, say, traditional vampire LARP, right? We
Okay.
go up together, we play rock paper scissors. There's systems to resolve what happens in that exchange, and if I win, what I want to have happen happens, and if you win, what you want to have happen happens,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a zero sum game, right? It's one person wins, one person loses,
Yeah.
and that's based on the system. In a collaborative style game, what it is we use negotiation mechanics, wherein if you want to say, I want to walk up in the bar and slap you, right? And you say that, and I will say, okay, I'm fine, but it stops there, right? And then you would act out slapping me, and I just go with it because we collaborated. And the emphasis in a collaboration-based game is creating a situation where people are ready to play for the story and
Mhm.
play for things that are interesting to have happen versus have it be kind of a mechanical simulation of what happens. And there's a really big concept in Nordic LARP of play to lose,
Yeah.
wherein you create situations where very intentionally like accept losing as and not getting everything your character wants because nobody nobody read the story about the hobbit who left his home and everything went perfect for him the entire day.
Yeah.
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 um I if you look at like Star Wars or Indiana Jones, they're just endless series of L's. Like if you
Oh,
actually look at them.
narratives in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you can pace out your wins and your losses, but there's this idea of would it be more interesting for me to lose and to lose ground and to have, would it make would it be more dramatic if I had the crap beaten out of me and I was thrown out of the bar? Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. Like that becomes more of the idea of what's going on in a collaborative game is that people have to be willing to lose, and that's part of the culture we create at Jackalope is creating one where you're prepared to have something interesting happen as opposed to just a series of wins, right? And
Yeah.
what quickly happens if you just like do nothing but want to win all the time is that people don't want to play with you
Fair.
and they just go no and they move on because you have in a negotiation style game nothing happens to your character that you don't agree to,
Yes.
and so people are be like, well, I'm going to win this fight, and we're like, okay, we're just not going to have this scene then, you know.
Yeah. So for say for somebody who is new to the style of LARPing and like I do think that like there are people who get into LARP and they kind of are believing that is going to be more self-serving and that they're going to win. But like if they're interested in this kind of LARP, what would be something that they could do to kind of like assess a situation and like determine like how a loss would be beneficial to them?
I mean, it's just really up to the imagination, and sometimes it's
Hmm.
just go with it.
Yeah.
Just be very intentional in saying, you know what, I am going to lose at least once an hour. That's a great rule.
Ooh.
That's a great rule to have.
Very.
L
Yeah.
like, I'm going to fail in some way, and I'm going to see what happens and see what comes from that, and often what comes from that is, very, like, that inspires some great stories, you
Yeah.
know? And losses set up wins really well. Nothing
Oh.
sets up a win better than a loss, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get the
Yeah.
underdog narrative at least.
Exactly, that's the
Some
minimum you can get from a
at
loss.
least. Yeah.
Right? And, some people just enjoy the suffering, you know? They just want endless, like, series of L's and tears and all that, and you walk up to them and you check and you say, "You okay?" And they go, yeah, no, I'm perfect. This is exactly what I'm here for."
Yeah, you just mentioned the like are you okay thing. So like in these LARPs and I know with Jackalope you guys have like a specific like rule set that you guys play with and of course it's going to be different from LARP to LARP. But what would be some of like the safety tools that you guys have when you're playing cuz obviously if you get into a fight or something and somebody seems really emotionally like distressed, like do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, one of the key tools we use is called the OK check-in, where you flash either the OK symbol or the chicken of concern is what we call it because certain people don't want to use this. And we flash that symbol, and that means are you okay? And this a way of without saying you're okay, without interrupting the scene, very simply, like you can walk up and just go like this, and the
Mm,
person can either give a thumbs up, a so, or a thumbs down, meaning I'm good. They can even give a double thumbs up, which means I'm great, keep it coming.
yeah.
So means I'm not sure how I feel, and thumbs down means I'm not good, right?
Yeah.
And when it's a so-so, the scene should stop and you should renegotiate. And
Yes.
you drop character, you see, okay, what's wrong? How are you feeling? Do you need to go someplace else? And then thumbs down means scene's over.
Yeah.
And that person is you help that person go to we have a sanctuary area at all of our games, which is completely game off. It's got like mats to sleep on, it's got snacks, it's got water, it's
Oh,
got
great.
basic take care of yourself materials, right?
Heck
And
yeah.
it always has a staffer there who is there to help out and basically say what's going on. Did some, is is this an emotional thing? Is somebody like, does someone violate a boundary? That kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and come to help that person out and see what's going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because that can be pretty, like, especially if you're someone who is either like unfamiliar with LARPing or even like explored a boundary that you weren't like aware that you had. I guess it could be pretty like emotional, like suddenly kind of coming to the realization that like, oh, I'm not okay with this.
Right, and that's why one of the things we emphasize is that when you create a LARP, you're creating a culture. And we always have this speech we do at the beginning of it, is that we are creating a culture. Now, it can that culture can either arise on its own, or we can intentionally make it. And what we do at the beginning, we have workshops before every single game.
Mhm.
Um, we uh, what we do is we say we're intentionally creating a culture, and one of the principles of that culture is people are more important than the game. People
Yeah.
are more important than LARP is frequently what we say over and over again. And the other thing that we say is that we're making the choice to care about each other.
Yes. That's
And
yeah.
part of caring about each other is checking in with each other and not thinking that the game is more important than anyone's discomfort. And also you can throw these signs on your own, like without being checked in as
Yeah.
well. And that's a way of gauging, like, if someone looks like they're hesitating, you can go,
Yeah.
scream at me more.
Yeah. Yeah. Do
And
more, do more.
yeah, do more. And sometimes, so it's really some people call these safety mechanics, and another term for them is calibration, because you can go up or down, right? You can dial in wherever that needle needs to be
Yeah.
in order to make sure everyone's having the time they want to have. And one of the things I've learned over time is that you have to check in with the fictional aggressor as much as the fictional. I'll use the word victim, even though that's not
Mm,
100% what I mean.
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but you have to check in with aggressors too, because that's emotional, like labor, to sit there and like fictionally be mean to someone, especially
Yeah.
if you're not that, and hopefully you're not that way in real life.
Yeah.
Like, we call it monstering, right?
Yeah.
Where you go in and you monster somebody, which is you get to, you know, be Count Orloff or whatever, and you're being this terrible person at them. And that's part of the experience they want, because, there's villains, there's bad guys, that kind of thing. And then afterwards, it's often just as important to check in on the monster, where it's just like, are you okay? Or do you have the energy that you're supposed to have?
Um, I just wanted to. One, I was laughing at Andy who said, "I tapped two blue mana counterspell," as a response to someone, I guess, not being okay. I don't know. That's how I took it, and it made me laugh. Somebody asked on Instagram, "Will Coven have a predetermined ending like the night in question?" I want to save the specific Coven questions until later, but
Okay.
I'm seeing questions as they come up, so I'm gonna keep those in mind. Um,
I won't let you forget them.
oh yeah, because you can see it over there too. Um, but sorry, that really got me. Like, I tapped two blue mana counterspell.
You
Like, that's
cannot
the way it
counterspell
deals.
an OK check-in.
Oh my god.
Don't cross the geek streams.
Oh, it's all in the same. We're all here together. Um, I had another question, but that really just got me. But yeah, we were talking about consent. Oh yeah, I was. You kind of answered the question, but I was gonna ask, like, if you're experiencing the heightened emotions, and you're looking to like say there's a scene going on, like if you are like not okay, like just is this like a I'm breaking character and I'm like let's stop this kind of thing?
Yeah, this scene needs to stop, right?
Yeah,
There's also, the out of character symbol, which is crossing your fingers,
of course.
which is you can and also, "I need to stop the scene," is also doing this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just you can just say that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that should be honored.
Yeah.
There's other ways of separating yourself out of the scene. There's something we call bow out, where you put your hand on your back of your head and you look downward and you leave, and that's a signal of, "Out of character, I'm out of here." Like, someone is, I don't know, doing a intimidation scene and you're a witness to it,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm having a reaction to this because of whatever reasons, they're your own, and I need to not be here right now. And part of the reason we have that symbol is that signal is to say, this is not personal, this is not in character, don't comment on it in character, this is me taking care of myself, which is the most
God.
important part.
Oh, okay. That's a really good clarification actually, because um I did actually look over your like LARP rules on your website, which by the way, if anybody is unfamiliar with the Jackalope LARP rules, you can go to their website and like read everything. It's very like detailed and very clear. What's up, Folk Myth? Um, and yeah, that idea of kind of like taking removing myself from the scene. I was wondering if like that applied to like I just don't want to be here, I'm bored of this, or like if it's a character like a character removal. But I suppose in character you could just be like, well, I'm out of here.
You're right, you can just say, "I'm
Both on
out,"
out.
but ultimately, we're not gonna question why you bow out, like, if whatever your reason is. Usually, it's because emotionally, I can't be here, right? If you're bored, just go someplace else, right? But sometimes it's like, you wanna leave a scene, but you don't wanna be confronted later about it, like, "Why'd you leave me behind in the saloon while that person was shouting at me?" When you bow out, that's a sign of, "Don't make this a deal, this was me taking care of myself,"
Yeah.
and that's something that ultimately you should do at all times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just saw you share the link for the Jackalope Guide to Playing Hard and Safe. Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
Because the most cool thing about safety mechanics and like there's tabletop versions of this like session zero, consent checklists, that
Yes.
sort of thing, the X card, and they all are kind of branches of the same tree of we're going to take care of each other emotionally. And the most important part of that is that we're running horror games. Like Jackalope runs several horror games. We've done other types of games too, like Cyberpunk. But when you run stuff that deals with really gritty or horrific material, you have to have those safety mechanics to actually go hard,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise, people are going to be unsure of the consequences of having that level of vulnerability.
I'm sorry, I keep laughing at your all of the jackalopes in my chat right now. I'm cracking up.
Shit lords, all of them.
Keeps breaking me. Um oh my god. Now we're talking about going to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom sometimes.
If you don't have to go to the bathroom, you should hydrate more.
That's
That's
it.
is correct.
Yeah. Next time I'm in a meeting that bores me, I'm just gonna bow out, let them figure out what the yeah, just excuse me.
Well, it's funny actually, and people have introduced the OK check-in to other communities where that's been very useful,
Yeah.
um, and there's a lot of other inspirations like that come in from other cultures that deal with highly charged emotional fictional situations, and that informs a lot of what we do in Jackalope because they've been doing it for decades, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm not going to talk about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, let's see. Have we covered our bases on LARPing in general? I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
um, So, like, violence in LARP, like, this
Yeah.
game is, like, Coven 1934, is there is violence in it, but actually, here's what I actually wanna talk about, which is, structure. So if you go into Nordic LARPs, a lot of them have a predefined, like, act structure
Mhm.
where depending on where you're at in the story, certain things do certain things or certain things are not allowed to happen.
Mhm.
In Coven 1934, there's going to be distinct, like, day-night cycles of during the day, during the night, night 1, this is happening. During no one can die the first day, a very common rule.
Yeah.
Um, you can be injured, you can have the crap beaten out of you, but you can't die, and you
Yeah.
can't get, like, irrevocably injured.
Mhm.
And that's just one of the rules in the game, and that's to make sure that the story beats hit at certain levels. Like, in, The Night in Question, it's not until the 2nd act that vampires can use any of their powers, really.
Mhm.
And in order to keep that kind of slow roll going on and to keep things moving in the right direction and so forth. And Coven 1934 is going to have a similar act structure to keep things moving at the right pace and have the right build up in order to create a more structured story rather than just having it be a free for all.
Mhm. Yeah. When it comes to combat, like to playing out combat, like is there any physicality to something like that? Not
We
really,
do a
huh?
workshop on stage fighting.
Yes.
And also we'll provide some weapons
Yeah.
that are these style weapons which are foam,
Yeah.
but are contact safe. And often, it's just like, well, we're going to get into a fist fight. And what you do during the negotiation is you say, okay, I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. I'm going to do this. And it's done kind of in slow motion. And it's, you hit your own hand sort of thing rather
Cool.
than punching the guy in the gut in order to create
Napping.
yeah, exactly.
They call it in the biz.
Yeah. What'd you call it?
Napping.
I did
NAP.
not know that was a term.
Yeah, the phrase in stage combat is napping when you like hit and you're like boom.
Yeah. And you do that sort of stuff, and it's very simple, and, if you grab someone, we emphasize that you just put your hand on them, and they act like they're being restrained. You don't actually restrain them at all,
Oh,
right? And
yes.
and that kind of stuff where you make sure you're what physicality there exists is safe. It's theatrical, it's immersive to a certain extent, but
Cool.
ultimately it's safe and interesting. So if two people want to get into a brawl, they can go out in the middle of the street and have like a fake fight.
Cool.
And there's some fantastic pictures of this going on in The Night in Question.
Awesome.
Um, and I've done it with other people as well. So it's a lot of fun. But what you do is you say, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this, and this is going to be the outcome. And you negotiate that ahead of time. And
Yeah.
one of the things we do in the workshops is we go over what that is and how that works.
Great. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. And so I think it's really important, like especially if you're someone kind of new to this kind of experience and like you've never like be it play fighted or taken any kind of stage combat class. I like that you educate on what exactly that looks like. That's awesome.
And it's also there's also the option just fast forward, all right? Where
Of
it's just
course,
like
yeah.
we'll just say we get into a fight and then you go on the ground
Get on the
and
ground.
yeah, and you act like you just got beaten up, but no actual stage fighting happens and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And that's also an option.
Yes. Very, very cool. Very cool. Um in I guess like this could apply to um both Night in Question and 1934 is like there are going to be some kind of like supernatural kind of occulty elements to that. Um is like magical combat. How does that work out between players?
Magic combat is basically negotiated the same thing. I do this, you do that. We
Mhm.
play out what goes on. There's not going to be like fireball powers or throwing lightning or anything like that.
Darn.
Yeah, I know. It's it's
Fireball.
much more in the like Stephen King sort of vein where the powers are subtle and weird. But when it comes to there's actually when you're talking about supernatural powers, we use this,
Mhm.
a rule called really really um, which is, for instance, maybe I'm playing a Fey Prince and I have the ability to manipulate emotions. And I say, you really, really feel your emotions very intensely right now. And that really, really code means that that statement is you using a power on you. Eh,
Oh.
But because this is a consent based system, you get to determine how that affects you.
Cool.
So, it's kind of like, um,
You shouldn't be like, "I really, really don't." Like
yeah, right. You can say the power doesn't work on me. You can say that.
"Your powers don't work on me."
Right, but we encourage people to go along with it because that's kind of a dick move. But at the same time, if you're not comfortable with it, just don't go along with it. But for instance, with the you really really feel your emotions very intensely. You decide what emotions you're feeling intensely and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's kind of
Oh, I
like the
love that.
power, yeah, the power. You really really like me. Um, that doesn't mean that it has to be romantic like or a friendly like or anything like that. You can just say I respect you or whatever. That is your choice, right?
Yes.
And one of the most important thing is because romance happens in these games and is often a theme of people, being, significant others or attached in some way. And the thing is that you have to, one of our strongest rules is to have any level of attraction to another player's character requires that player's express consent,
Yes.
even if it's not reciprocated.
Yes.
So that allows you to safely kind of say, do you want to be tragic star-crossed lovers? And then, like, you can explore those
Yes.
ideas and stuff like that. And you can have, there is not just negotiations for violence and for power use. There's negotiations for intimacy.
Yes.
Like when we do the night in question, there's several characters often like have girlfriends and relationships and that sort of thing, and they decide that they're going to have that real emotional connection.
Mhm.
But it's just like you can kiss if you want, but it needs to be consented to.
Yes.
You can simply wrap your arms around each other and dance slow and all the other kind of stuff. But we go through, there's different ways of showing intimacy in character. Find where you're comfortable with, and if you're comfortable with kissing, go for it. We do have a general rule of don't do anything that is considered sex.
Yeah.
That's a general rule.
That can be
um
the next day afterwards.
yeah, that's for the
That can
I'm not
be
gonna I'm
yesterday from the day before.
I'm not here to police what you do in the hotel afterwards. But
Yeah.
at the game, no.
Yes.
And
Fair enough.
we have, when it comes to things like X cards and consent lists, obviously when you have a 100-person game, you can't have everybody walking around with their consent lists on. So the two methods that we're going to use and we have used in the past is we're going to use there's content warnings and content bans. Content warnings are these are things that come in two levels, which is these things you will almost 100% encounter at the game, right? We're not going to avoid these are present in the setting, but we're going to be upfront about them, we're going to reveal them. Have your own comfort level ready.
Yes.
Then you have some characters will encounter these things, like some characters might encounter alcoholism and stuff like that, and those characters will be marked as such as involving this. And then we have content bans, which is things like you're not allowed to introduce it and we're not going to allow to introduce it. And that includes things like how to put the some examples are SA. We're not going to deal with that. Use of racial slurs is not allowed. and there's a big long list on the website of these are things you're not allowed to introduce, and I don't care how historically accurate it would be.
Yeah.
We're not doing that shit.
Yeah.
And so that's part of gauging like people's like keeping things in with guardrails on it. The other thing we do is we do color codes for, and we're going to do color codes for different types of content. One of the things that was, um, I want to say surprising, but it was, I think, important to me is for people who come from backgrounds that have not been treated well in the past. They have to consent to any content that has to deal with oppression and the struggles of their of that they faced, right?
Mhm.
Historically, it's 1934.
Mhm.
Um, and those things will be like strictly guardrailed
Yeah.
and be all that, but they are allowed. But if they consent and if they say yes, I want this, we can absolutely we're going to include some of that, but we're going to have name tags at the game, and there's going to be a color code that says I consent to this content,
Okay,
right?
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, we have BIPOC writers who are dealing with that content explicitly. Like I'm
Yes.
not writing any of it. And there's certain things that we're just that are we're not including. But it's this very careful balance between honoring the past and not whitewashing it, while
Yes.
also not excluding anybody who doesn't want to deal with the realities
Yeah.
that happened there.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. And like, and we can actually kind of start shifting into like actually talking about Coven 1934. I feel like this is kind of a natural progression into it. Yeah, like explicitly you guys have talked about how you guys have a like diverse cast in your writing um team. And I mean, I think that's something that's really important too with the way that you guys conduct these things. Like it's
Yeah,
done
I'm
with
the token
total
straight
respect.
white guy on thin ice on the writing staff.
But it's really important, like especially if you're going to a LARP that like you understand that like or that the people coming understand um like how carefully and respectfully that you guys handle the content that you're producing. And like that's so like so respected and just valuable to see like as artists. Like, nothing is handled
I
inappropriately.
just don't wanna be an asshole to anybody, to be
Of
honest. I'm not
course.
just I
Of
d
course.
but,
But I feel like
uh
there's a lot of things, like, with intention where, like, you can go into something being like, "Well, I don't wanna be an asshole," but, something is missed, and you guys very clearly you don't cut corners, you make sure that you're very detailed and make sure that you're covering all your bases up front because of that respect that you inherently have for your community and for the people who are attending. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's really great to see the excitement of writers from from certain backgrounds, getting a chance to actually explore these concepts. Like Logan Boise, who's a fantastic writer, indigenous writer who's worked on Coyote and Crow and on as a cultural consultant for World of Darkness on indigenous issues. He's one of our writers, and we have three indigenous players who want to play, and all of them are like, I want to play an indigenous character in this. And Logan is absolutely excited as hell to write indigenous characters for indigenous players,
That's
right?
awesome.
And it's just joyful to see him just like, I get to express this space and express my culture through my writing. And I think that's really fantastic to see whenever it happens,
Oh,
right? To see
yeah.
that honest excitement. And there's we have Jonathan Fye, who's a Latino, who is going to be writing. He's not just writing Latino stuff, but he's getting to write like brujeria and people who deal with traditional Mexican folk magic and stuff like that, which is his particular background. And he's like, I'm just honestly excited to be able to explore these things in a place where it's appropriate. And you have players who are coming. We have a an East Asian player who's like, I want to explore the experience of my people during this time. And because I'm a history nut, right, especially for my state, for Texas, I'm like, well, this is what the Chinese immigrant experience was. There's about 6,000 of you. They came with the railroad. And they often, I could go on about how they often married Mexican and black wives. They were mostly male because they were railroad workers. But also that the Asian experience of the time, which I was so excited to see expressed in Sinners, that they touched on this, is
Oh,
that
I could go on forever about Sinners, which
yeah, I could too. It's an amazing movie.
incredible.
There's fingerprints of Sinners all over this project.
Oh,
That is
I could
what I
smell
know.
it from a mile away, Matt.
Yeah,
I saw as soon as the first post came out, like I was like, "Ugh, I need to be here."
yeah. Fingerprints, not carbon copies.
And so,
Fingerprints.
of course,
Yeah,
because I mean, it's a mix of so many. Like you have so many different, like, inspirations from all different kinds of mediums. But like, it's the 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 fingerprints of sinners are like mountains. Like
yeah.
it is a very incredibly done and crafted medium. So you know,
Yeah, and I was talking to the person who was talking about this, and I said, "Well, this is the experience. The Asians of the time period in the South and in Texas were often brokers because they could deal with both white and black culture at the same time because they were
yes,
somewhere in between." And he was like, "I would be so interested in exploring that kind of outsider sort of thing." And I'm like, All right, if you want it, we'll make it."
and
And but I wouldn't. If someone came in who had similar ancestry, came in and said, I don't want to deal with any of that. I just want to be a character
yeah,
that doesn't touch on that. It's like, that's good too. you
yeah,
know
it's all viable. Yeah, for
right.
sure.
People should be comfortable with the level of historicity that they
Mhm.
want to deal with, while also, like, we're not dealing with shit like the Klan. We're not dealing with any of that crap.
Yeah, no, that doesn't.
That's no fun for anybody. And I'm not saying no LARP can ever touch that, but I'm
It's
making the
not
choice not
for
to.
this one. There's other stuff going on that is way more engaging.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, I'm not saying a game can't be about that, but this game is not about that. This game is about crazy occult happenings in a small Texas town during the Dust Bowl, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, as we're kind of moving into it, we can start with that question. Will Coven have a predetermined ending like the night in question?
It will not have a predetermined ending. It will have predetermined acts, and things will come to a
Ooh.
head in a specific manner, depending on what characters do and how what the outcome is for the town in the end, who comes out on top, which forces involved come out to the very, who wins, quote unquote, whether it's a draw, all these other sorts of
Yeah.
things will be determined by the choices various characters make.
Yeah. Yeah. With because for anyone who wants to sign up or will sign up, when you do so, you kind of can break into, like, what's your preferred character type, for example. So you have the mundane, the touched, and the unnatural.
Unnatural,
Are
yeah.
those your are those the, like, teams that you're talking about winning, or are they broken individually more so?
Every single so the mundanes are kind of, if there's a scoreboard in the
Mhm.
game, the
Yeah.
mundanes are points, right? Um, that big
Oh.
Who gets drawn to what side? Because one of the principles, if you read Stephen King or Clive Barker, is humans are somehow special.
Yeah.
And even these massive supernatural forces are very interested in the human soul and the human psyche.
Mhm.
Um, and touched people might drift to one of the occult sides. I'm not going to reveal yet what the various forces are, but there's different forces who have different agendas and have different things that they want from the town and from
Mm.
the energy of the crossroads and stuff like that. Like a demon and a fae have different agendas and they serve different
Mm.
masters, right?
Mm. Mhm.
So, but both of those characters want to interact and get things from the touched and the mundane, right? And the mundanes are kind of worth the most, right? The touched are already kind of usually going one direction or the other, or have some touch of the supernatural in them. But the mundanes are the ones that they're the pieces on the board that the unnaturals really want to move
Yeah.
and get to them. So it's often going to be the case where unnatural, while they might talk to other unnaturals and conspire or confront them, um, they really want to confront they really want to deal with the mundanes and the touched more than anything else, because those are the things that are worth having, you know.
That's so that's so interesting. Like I think with the way that you guys built this game, just looking at the types within themselves, like I really was sitting there and I was like, God, who is gonna have like the best time? Like I feel like you got way too excited about what? What did I get too excited about? I'm about to go in, like because I feel like you look at this kind of thing, you're like, oh, there's a supernatural element, and like naturally, like if you're somebody who's so like done with your like normal life, you're gonna be like, oh well, I want to go like be supernatural, I want to go be touched or whatever. But like mundane though, like I feel like that's gonna be the most like one of the most interesting ways to play because you're going to literally like it's 1934, right? Like there's no like internet to really inspire your mind. You just have the sand around you, right, to look at
Mhm.
and hallucinate. So like when it comes to like the actual story that your character is going to go through, like what does that element look like? Because you're dealing with things, but you don't get to know about them up front. Like you walk into this game and you got to pretend don't exist.
Right, but we've written you with like maybe you're playing a family of Okies and you're looking for work, and you literally have 2 days worth of food and that's it, and you go in with that sort of drama and tension. If you're playing like the priest of the local Lutheran church, you might be, confronted with what you might know something is wrong, but also are confronted with the emotional and spiritual well-being of your congregation. So you already have these pre-written like goals and mindsets and conflicts written up in the mundane, while also maybe having hints of what's about to happen and that sort of thing. So you want to so they're written so that you have things to grab onto that'll draw you into this world. And also the unnatural and the touched have reasons to draw the mundane characters in as well into their kind of little world and stuff like that. So this is, part of the reason we do pre-written characters, to make sure this is all set up so you're not sitting there like, I don't know what to do. It's just like, well, we've written you relationships with other characters, we've written you things to do. And you know here's the paradox, right?
Hmm.
And the old Superman or Spider-Man adage, with
Yeah.
great power comes great responsibility,
Yes.
right? It's very true in LARP characters. Very true. So if you get
Yeah.
handed a natural character, yeah, you have abilities, you have things, but you have immediately
A job.
assumed, yeah, you immediately assumed responsibility for the game and the responsibility for the experience of all these other people in a way a
Yeah.
mundane character is not.
Yes, yes. Like that was another thing I was thinking about, especially having come from Drachenfest, which I'll preface was like my first time at Drachenfest. Um so and the way that they play there, right, is very much like the experience that you give to other players is the experience you get out of it. So like if someone casts a spell on you, the better you perform the spell's effect on you, the better everyone is going to have on the game. And of course, like that affects the same thing when you do something to someone else, vice versa, whatever. So when I was looking at this, I was like, the mundane, they just get to have things happen to them. Right? And like the super or the unnatural characters, those are the ones that like it's like, okay, well, you gotta like roll up your sleeves a little bit because you got things to do. You got like, you know.
You're responsible for guiding the game at that point, and that's
Yeah,
going to
a
be very
little
clear
bit.
in the people that are given unnatural characters.
Yeah. I just think that's I mean I just see that element and I think it's so cool just as a narrative progression because for me for because I think we have a lot of people in this chat that know you right now, but for me I'm a storyteller. Like, you know, my a lot of my background, like I'm an actor. I do a lot of actual play stuff. I have my own podcast and the ad keeps popping up every couple of minutes, so go listen to RP Jesters. But
Which is excellent, by the way, and you should.
and you should
Marketing.
marketing. But I'm really big on the story and I'm really big on the stakes and also I love to cry. So so like seeing like the building blocks, look, there it is. Seeing these building blocks in your game, like we get to the touched. So you have these line straddlers basically
Mhm.
who kind of flow back into, you know, they're mundane, but they're already kind of directed in a way. Like since we've kind of touched on both ends of the spectrum, like what do you think is going to be the most interesting part for those in the middle of it all?
I think it's going to be that they get to be the conduit for information between the two sides. All right. They get to be the people that know something is going on a bit more than anyone else.
Mm,
And they also have minor powers that allow them to influence role play and
mm,
really be movers and shakers in this kind of clandestine struggle, which is overtaking this town.
mm-hmm.
And they're the one the you know the old tarot reader can guide someone's role play in a really like pronounced way. And I think we just hit an ad break, but
We did. We are at a 3 minute here.
yeah.
The top of the hour, 3 minute ad break. Now for all of my Twitch subs and anyone who's gone over to the Instagram. We'll pause. We'll pause that question there for a second.
We'll do a little dance.
Do a little dance. Um
Is there any idea when characters will be assigned when they're ready?
I'm just gonna mention to our friends.
Now is the time where we do the dance of the ad break.
Yes. The ad break dance. The
It's
ad
the
break
ad
dance.
break dance.
Oh, my bot isn't even on. My chat
Oh
bot.
no.
Oh no. Yeah, for the subs, what's trying to think of like a cool like serial question just for the Instagram people. What is something you're really excited for?
I'm really excited for seeing some of the set pieces we have planned. Another thing I'm really excited for is some of the systems we're going to introduce because
Mm.
there's going to be a corruption mechanic where you get corrupted towards one side or the other based on your interactions with people from those various sides.
Ooh.
And you basically acquire corruption points from them before you're fully like basically the mundanes and the touch can fully take a side if they're
Mm-hmm.
corrupted enough to it, and that changes things.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's tasty.
Yeah, that's a very Stephen King thing. That's a very like Randall. You take the side of Randall Flagg, and you're now like in his like coven or whatever. But I'm, you know, if you're gonna steal from the masters.
That's fair. That is fair.
I'm very upfront with my inspirations, like absolutely upfront. I don't feel like I should at any point say, "Oh, this is fully from the patch from my imagination, and look how clever I am. No, 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 no. It should be. You should just wear yours, because also it gives players something to look at and say, okay, here's the vibe, right?
Mhm.
Look at old
Mhm.
Twilight Zone episodes. That's the vibe. Look at Dark Tower. That's the vibe. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
it gives people references. And you've got based just on that, you have wonderful people like Raquel Skellington and Syrinx, coming up already with these cosplays and Robin the God and all
Oh
this
my
stuff.
god. Yeah, I wish I had a wardrobe that I could just pull stuff out. I was talking to Strings. I was like, I need some suspenders.
Suspenders is a look.
It's a look. It's a good one too.
Hmm.
It's a good one for sure.
Suspenders and a button up. Yeah, that's a fucking look. Go
Hey,
for it.
welcome back, Twitch chat. There is another question on Instagram if we want to answer that before jumping back into what we were saying before. If we don't get to the goal, if we don't get to the goal of 200 people, will some people not be picked to play? How is that determined?
That is the toughest part of running this game,
Hmm.
or running any casted LARP. Right? Is that you have to pick who plays what. So it's going to be based on preferences, game history, background, who like how many. If like we've got. Just to throw numbers out here, if we have 80% mundane and touched and 20% supernaturals, and the people who are competing for the unnatural slots, probably they're going to be left out, in favor of filling up those other sections, right?
That's true.
So, and part of it is just part of it. I've literally just drawn them from a hat when I haven't been able to understand. So there's a bit of a lottery aspect to it. But casting the game and determining who gets in and who gets put on a waiting list, because if you don't get in initially, like someone always drops, something always happens right between now and February. So we're going to put people on a waiting list and say, hey, we know you didn't get in initially, you don't have to put a deposit down or anything, but would you like to be on the waiting list?
Hmm.
And then if something frees up that's appropriate to the types of themes that you wanted, the types of character you wanted, we can say, hey, so and so couldn't make it, would you like to play?
Yeah.
And that's part of the process.
Yeah. That's really cool. Sorry, there's a fly that's attacking me. Whew. Yeah, I guess, and that's true because like the story, like the narrative is already like if you have the characters once you have the players, so
Hmm.
making sure that you're slotting people in to kind of fill those roles because they're already connected. That's part of
Right.
the predetermined part of that narrative, which is just I think that's so cool, actually. I really
it,
do.
it really works out really well, and it makes sure that you're actually associated with things and that you're not left
Yeah.
out. And it also prevents you I mean, clicks are a thing. They're always going to be a thing, even like benevolent ones. So one
Hmm.
of the other things like casting makes you play with people that maybe you don't know 100%, right?
Oh yeah.
It makes you play outside your comfort zone a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's actually something that I think is one of the most exciting. Like, kind of having to explore outside of what you're comfortable with. One, in terms of whatever narrative that you're going to be experiencing, but two, also just new faces.
Yeah. And you're sharing this intense emotional experience with new people.
So
And you get
cool.
to, show up at the hotel afterwards and talk about how awesome it was.
So
It's a great
cool.
experience. And it's creating those communities, I think, is really what gets me.
I do have a question from Folk and Myth. What if you're already 100% corrupted, asking for a friend?
Then you're not playing a character we wrote, folk. There's a
um,
difference between folk. There's a difference between corrupted and degenerate, and then we all know which one you are.
Get wrecked. We already touched on this a little bit, but I think it's important, so we'll bring it up again. From Instagram, how will characters that might be indigenous or BIPOC be handled?
They will be limited to people that are from those backgrounds or associated backgrounds. They're going to uh, be reserved for those players, and they'll be reserved for if you wish to engage with the content of historic oppression that involves those types of characters, it'll be completely opt in.
Just
and those will also be written um, as those will also be written by people from the appropriate backgrounds. Now, if a character is not explicitly a BIPOC or indigenous or from a particular background, there's nothing stopping a BIPOC or indigenous person from playing that character, and they're 100% allowed to play that character. So, for instance, if you know, if a black player wants to play the mayor and he says, "I don't want to deal with oppression or any of that stuff," that's just how it is. You just don't comment on it,
yeah.
and that's not part of his play experience. Period.
And you mentioned earlier too, like the name tags that will basically be showing the consent levels
Right.
effectively.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
have a red band on it for I agree to engage with this content, but at the same time, they can opt out at any time.
of
Period.
course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. And there are with the Jackalope LARPs, there are consent rules and safety tools and all that things all listed out on the website. And just because we already kind of touched on them, if you want to go and access that information yourself, you can jump right over to the website and collect that. But going back to the question that we left off on before the ad, we were talking about the touched and how they're going to be what their games is going to look like being in the middle of all of these things, the mundane and the unnatural.
Oh yeah. So where was I? Where was I?
Like you
I
can
was
start from the
somewhere.
top.
Right. So I think the touched really have this are the conduit, like the place between worlds and the place where mundanes get drawn into the supernatural, but also the touched have some of the greatest potential to influence their relationship with the unnatural as that develops, right? The hobo who does magic, like hedge magic, might help someone who is dealing with a demon and tell them what the fuck it is, for one, and clue them in, right? You could have there definitely is medicine people that are going to be from the indigenous from who are probably going to be Comanche, and they're being written by Logan Boise, who I mentioned earlier, and they're going to have the ability to actually tell people, if they're interested, more of the background of what's going on here, and they bring understanding of what's going on and can influence people's interaction with the unnatural and the occurrences that are happening in the town.
I For some reason I have this image of the touch kind of almost being not quest givers per se, but like almost having like just a little bit more information about like what's weird. So kind of
Yeah,
being able to give that information out.
and there might be even the ones that don't have more information. They're often going to have abilities that let them say that's not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Um
the old Irish grandmother can tell you exactly what the fuck that she is, right?
yeah.
And what the rules are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um when how was I gonna say this? So when when players receive their characters, is there gonna be like a packet of information that they're gonna need to study up and be informed about when they play?
Yeah,
Or
you get a write up of your character, the groups your character is in, the various abilities that they have, and it's going to be about 2 or 3 pages. So you're going to get a full background, and also there's going to be a more general background of this is what's occurred recently in the town. This is the background of what's going on, and generally how the night is going to be laid out. And there's going to be a player's guide which you go through and has all these different sorts of details into it. Very similar to what we did in the Night in Question, where the Night in Question has details about the rules and details about the structure of the game itself.
cool, cool. Is it something that's appropriate where if somebody asks me about something and it's just like I have so much else going on, I just got out of the scene, is it appropriate if I like pull out something to review
Oh, absolutely.
information?
Yeah, you just go, "Excuse me, one second."
Let me check my notes.
Yeah, 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 line.
Line. Line. That's so funny. But yeah, I love that it's going to have this more open environment for making sure that everyone's safe, comfortable, and also able to give off the right information.
Right. Though, the reason we keep it to 2 or 3 pages is we kind of have this theory that, the human brain can probably hold about 2 pages of information in it
Yeah,
at any one time.
at least, yeah,
Yeah.
at least for the day. At least for the day. Um, the touched are halfway to being Malks. Gotcha. That's a good way of saying that.
Depends on the touched, but yeah, yeah, I mean, that's a good way of doing it. I mean, there is, those who cannot hear the music think the dancer's mad, right?
Mm. Mm. Um, trying to think. I'm just like I'm so in awe of this whole thing. Welcome back. Welcome back to chat. Um we kind of said during the ad break for our Instagram viewers things that you're excited for. I kind of want to delve into that. Like what are you like willing to share? Maybe is there something that you want to talk about that you haven't really asked the right question yet for?
Um, so
Give us the tea, Matt.
the tea. So there is something special about the town covenant, and it's not special in a good way or a bad way. It simply is, and
Mm.
it is a place where various in the kind of cosmology we've developed. There are primordial forces that wear many masks and have many aspects,
Mm.
and those forces have come here to influence what happens here as a microcosm, as kind of a battlefield for a very, very old conflict. And that battlefield is not over bodies, but over minds and souls.
Mhm.
And that is what the heart of it is. But at the same
Ooh.
time, it's not the traditional Judeo-Christian cosmology, right? It's
Sure.
not good versus evil. It's very much we're taking that cosmic horror tone where if you're looking for good, don't look for it amongst the supernatural, right? Like, because if you spend 30 seconds thinking about angels, they're absolutely terrifying.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's fair. Are you saying that none of the unnatural characters can be trusted?
I think they all have agendas, and
Oh.
they have agendas driven by forces that are not exactly pro humanity.
So you might be able to trust them provided you're working towards the same cause.
Exactly. And
Mm.
if you serve their purposes, I'm sure they'll be of great benefit to you. But
Mm. That's
your
tricky.
petty goals might line up with their cosmic ones.
Oh, oh, that's such a good way of saying that. Um, quick side tangent question. Can we resubmit our applications?
If you submit it under your email, you should be able to go back into the form and re-edit them. So if you are signed in to Google, you should be able to edit them. But if you want to resubmit, we'll just take the latest submission.
Um, ooh, another question from Blake. What are some particular challenges specific to this particular story?
Conveying the idea of corruption and cosmic horror versus physical danger and like gruesome horror, right? The
Mm.
idea that this is a place that is not safe for your soul as opposed to your body.
Oh, oh, it's so good.
I have a few lines.
um, I love the question. Many masks or mini masks?
Mini masks. Mini masks.
Many masks.
Yeah. Don't make fun of my accent.
Oh goodness. Focus up. My camera freaked out on me.
No fair.
um yeah, I'm excited to know who I'm gonna play, and I'm excited for just what, like, I don't know, I could just go on and on about how I'm obsessed with the prospect of like the different character dynamics. Uh, I just I know that's what you can't say. Those are the questions I'm like,
Oh, there's
what?
gonna be religious conflict, there's gonna be economic conflict, there's gonna be petty small town power struggles, all that.
Ooh, Matt, has your character been decided? Is there anything you can share about them yet?
I do not play characters in games I run except for what are called thin NPCs.
Ooh.
And a thin NPC is a character which is explicitly marked as being, this is the voice of the game. He's not he's not an obstacle. He's not someone to argue with. And like at the night in question, I play a character called the MC,
Mm.
who is one of the people running the rave. But ultimately, he's the one who walks around and says, "Stop doing that," and you're supposed to listen to it because he's the voice of the game staff. He's just
Mm.
there's a word, a great word, diegetic, which means inside the game. So he's just part of the game world that allows you to do it. So I'm probably not going to be playing a character. I'm going to be playing I'm going to be staffing. If I have a character, it's going to be a thin NPC.
You're just gonna be like a random cowboy walking around.
My duster, my black
Yeah,
black work shirt,
Sheriff Matt,
polo
exactly.
tie. Yeah.
Just like
Ka-chink, ka-chink, ka-chink. Need to buy some boots.
exactly.
I have a perfectly good cowboy hat, but I don't have good boots anymore. I don't have the good cowboy boots. I know it's
You have a
travesty.
couple of months
I do.
to procure some.
Yeah. One of the good things about being in Texas, if you go to Goodwill, you can find good cowboy boots sometimes.
That's gonna be the first thing I go search for in Texas.
I know some good shops.
Hey,
But a
there
good
you
pair
go.
of boots will set you back more than you think.
Even from Goodwill?
Even from Goodwill. Like a good pair of cowboy boots is like $200.
Wow. I mean, that's fair because they're made quality in Texas, I imagine.
Oh yeah, they're work boots. Like
Yeah.
they're serious.
Oh
They're for
yeah.
real. Yeah.
They're not for the cosplay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm coming from the New York area, so I've never actually been to Texas. I have flown around Texas, not really over it because
Well, we're based in Austin, which is it's a nice, progressive part of the state. And one of the things that we're very explicit about is that we know Texas is not that great for some people, and we acknowledge that. But we're very dedicated to creating a welcome space. So fuck them. And the
mhm.
people, we have absolute control of the game site, and the game site owner has a very long history of supporting people from the LGBTQ and marginalized backgrounds. So
Great.
we wouldn't be working with them otherwise. So
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So ultimately, it's just going to be a safe haven, uh, in general. I mean, we've talked so much about safety tools and consent and everything, so pretty much goes without saying.
Yeah, no, I wear this shit on my jacket for a reason. I mean,
Hell yeah.
yeah, and I just don't have any patience for anyone who doesn't think that everyone deserves dignity.
Um, by the way, everyone, thank you so much for your follows on Twitch. I really appreciate them. Um, question from Instagram again. Do we have an idea of a ratio between mundane touch and natural characters to be in the game? I think you kind of talked a little bit about that. We're not
Uh,
really
yeah, that would be telling.
spoilers.
That would be telling.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, sweetie.
Spoilers. from Twitch. You don't go to Goodwill. Don't do Goodwill.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thrift stores. How about we put it that way?
There you go. That's the way
Yeah.
to put it. Yeah, if anyone in chat, by the way, if you do have any specific questions, please feel free to shout them out. Not to say my well is drying up, but I'm just I'm thinking questions and I'm like, no, that's a spoiler. Nope, that's a spoiler. Nope.
There actually is a Coven, I'll tell you that much.
There's a Coven?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, is that a spoiler? Like, or do you think I just picked it because it was creepy?
I mean, isn't the Coven the friends we made along the way?
Isn't the real supernaturals the friends we made along the way?
That's what I'm saying.
Isn't the real apocalypse the friends we made along the way?
What do you hope players leave with from the game, aside from the silverware? Meaning, what feelings or thoughts would you love to see players take with them at the end? Great question.
A feeling that they have control over their own fate, and the feeling that they can, they can, they can rise above calamity. If you look at the, if you look at the period we're talking about, it's a period of time where all the rules start breaking down. Everybody's assumptions start falling apart. Everything that was supposed to be stable isn't. Everything which things, all these things that are supposed to be bedrock turn out to be sand. And I think that's a very poignant and relevant experience now in the world we live in now. And I want people to kind of have the emotional armor to confront that and to understand that they are masters of their own fate, that their choices matter, that who they are matters, and what they can achieve is defined by who they are. Right. And I think that's the most important emotions I want to invoke.
Um, Another question from Cryptid on Instagram: how much history should we learn for this LARP if you're starting from knowing nothing of the Dust Bowl or almost nothing of the Dust Bowl?
Your character write-up will have the relevant history, and I'm sure a perusal of Wikipedia could help you out, but you don't have to be a historian. You don't have to read an entire book on the subject. It's not going to rely on deep history and the what's actually going on in the world in 1934. You're mainly going to be focused on what's happening in this town. There's going to be characters that are World War One vets, but it's not that you have to know the history of World War One. There's going to be characters who have connections with cowboy culture and stuff, but most of them are going to be pretty easily understood, I think.
That's an interesting question for me. What made you guys set the game during the Dust Bowl? Like, was it really just the inspirations that you had from other media and you were excited for this? Was it anything like coming off the hype of Sinners, or was it something you were just interested in telling?
It's apocalyptic.
Hmm.
It's the imagery of the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl is so critical to the history of this period, and it is kind of symbolic of collapse, right? It's literally nature itself reflecting society's collapse, right? Because in 1934, the Great Depression, economic uncertainty, crime, the falling apart of the social contract, migrant people who thought they would have farms of generations being reduced to being migrant destitute workers.
Mm-hmm.
The threat of revolution and all this stuff. It is such a poignant sort of moment, and the era and the realities reflect that collapse. And I think that kind of uncertainty lends itself to this kind of story.
Yeah, that's so. Were those things that you were interested in telling first, and then settled on the setting, or did you pick the setting because of those elements?
It's kind of a chicken and the egg thing.
Chicken and
It's
egg?
kind of like, you start thinking about the depression in the 30s. You take inspiration from things like Sinner and Carnival, which, if you haven't seen that series,
Okay.
is amazing. It's from the 2000s, which is a carnival traveling through the Dust Bowl during the 30s. Um,
Ooh. There's
and,
there's your thing to study up.
yeah, Carnival. Look it up. It's on HBO Max. It's amazing. Um, so you start thinking about it, and you start thinking about, well, what does this era actually mean, right? And you start thinking about it, and you're like, oh, it's about things breaking down, and what
Mhm.
happens when the supernatural starts breaking, like reality starts breaking down as much as nature and society. And it kind of went from there. And the Dust Bowl is just a great metaphor for that. And also, it's a great excuse for why you're not leaving town, because the storms are rolling in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
Hmm.
Um, your tips on emulating a decent Texas accent?
Don't.
Just don't try.
Just don't try. Just roll with your own. We'll be fine. Just this role playing accents is such a rife thing, and especially when you're doing like accents of groups of people which are traditionally cast as uneducated, it's very easy, especially
What?
when you're around a lot of native Texans, to to cross a line or two.
So basically, if you get a character that is more educated, then you're okay to do an accent. But if you're not, don't try.
But yeah, I think that I don't recommend accents, like voices. Even in TTRPGs, voices are the hardest thing,
I love
right?
doing voices though.
Well, you can do voices all you want, you're allowed to, but if someone's like,
Sick. Just
I
me.
want to do a Texas accent, it's like, oh, I've encountered so many bad ones. It's
Just
just like howdy do.
how did
End up sounding like freaking Woody.
you give somebody like a very like intense character and they're like, okay, I have to do the best Texas accent I can do. Well, howdy, y'all.
Put that twang in it. Most Texans don't even sound Texan, like that Texan, until we have to say certain words, and then it slips out.
And then you get caught.
Hmm.
Um, will there be characters with a range of age, and will that be played into the plots at all?
Yeah, there's going to be families, and there's going to be older and younger members of those families. There's going to be older and younger members of the community. So you're going to have people who might be as old as the 50s and their 50s and 60s. There might be as young as over 18, but like 18, 19 years old, that sort of thing. So there's going to be a range of characters that are dealing with different situations.
Um, Smush said, "Can you give us a spoilery answer that doesn't have a question?"
What?
Just just say something spoilery, but without context.
um
No.
yes, the wild is envious of the souls men have.
Ooh. Oh, that's cool. um, I'm getting that characters are pre-written. How much are the individual players allowed to tweak their character to their liking?
The
Don't tell me.
characters are flexible. The you can have guidelines, and if you want a major change, you can always reach out to the game runners. Like if you're like, I really don't like this relationship or something like that, we can go in and alter it. It's not a big deal. And but you can adjust things a little bit, tweak it to your liking. No big deal.
Oh, that's great. Um, will will there be a time prior to the game to meet, get comfortable with the people you're going to be grouped linked with, similar to the optional workshop at the night in question?
Yes. If you look at the schedule on the website, coven.jackalope-larp.com, you can see that there's character workshops, there's a meet and greet, and on the Wednesday before game. Because the game runs Thursday, Friday, so we're going to have character workshops and stuff on Wednesday.
Very
Those
nice.
are optional, but highly encouraged.
Yeah, I feel like that's really important, like especially if you're getting into a game that's like with like intense topics and
Mhm.
potential like emotional investment. I think having those like pre-connections are
Right, and there's gonna be a safety workshop that's mandatory the Thursday of the game.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. There was another question I think I saw. Or actually, everyone's just going off about Texan accents.
Well, yeehaw howdy.
I'm gonna
Listen,
do my worst Texan accent just to spite you, Matt.
my Texas accent is directly proportional to how close I am to a state trooper trying to give me a ticket.
Whoa! I love that.
I'm not. That's just reality. It's just like I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna be just. Well, howdy do. Just to be the
um,
most charming podunk motherfucker you ever seen.
I saw a little bit of this in chat earlier, but being like the nature of the time, and you mentioned also like alcoholism as a potential topic. What like what is the relationship of that to actual gameplay? Like
Oh, we are a dry
drinking and
game.
dry
We're
game.
a dry game. We do not. But like, there's gonna be fake booze, but it's
Hmm.
gonna be fake.
Get the
It's gonna
Heineken
be
zeros up in there.
yeah, Heineken zeros.
Apple juice.
Apple juice, diet
Sun
water,
tea.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, we're very for safety reasons, we don't want drinking.
Of
Like, we're
course.
going to be dealing with a lot of intense stuff. It's hard to monitor. We don't want anyone to have a bad time and have to leave the game. So, and it's, some people don't know don't like, especially if you're talking and stuff and you're doing a lot of physical activity and you're outside, you might drink more than you're expected to and you might be dehydrated and you might be like, "Oh crap, I didn't mean to get drunk, but now I am."
The
Um
alcoholics are the most hydrated people actually, because they're gonna be drinking the entire time, but it's just water.
Exactly. Exactly.
Actually, that's a valid question for anyone unfamiliar to the Texas area in February. Like, what is the average like weather like?
70s during the day and like high 50s, 60s at night. So you can wear all your cool coats.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great, actually, especially like for the fashion. Layer up, but in like a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah, get your dusters out, get your cowboy hats, get your
Get the
newsboy
chaps.
caps, get your jackets, all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
We have somebody who's working on getting us like a fashion guide together that we're going to release. She's actually a historian who is offered to do the research for us. So we're gonna have a fashion guide of this is what it'll look like.
That's great.
But even then, it's like we're going with historic. We're going with historical,
Yeah.
not historical. So if it looks Hollywood good, we're fine with that.
With that guide, are you guys gonna recommend any like places to like purchase anything?
That's a good idea. Maybe
Yeah.
now that you mentioned it, maybe.
Even if it's just like, basic
But at the end of the day, suspenders, a button-up shirt, and jeans is historically accurate, and we're
yes.
not going to go and check whether they're nylon or not.
Yes,
You're
like this is a polyester.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a cotton poly blend. That is neither kosher nor historically accurate.
That brings me back to, and we can kind of jump a question off of this. Like when I worked at the Renaissance Fair, they were very like about shoes. Like the shoes had to like not have zippers on them because they had to be like historically accurate. And
Mm.
the biggest shift from going to this historically accurate Renaissance Fair to a LARP was that shoes are like that is the least in character thing. Like if you can get a good pair of shoes, more power to you, but if you can get a comfortable pair of power shoes, more power to you.
Yeah, when you're LARPing, just shoes are just shoes. You just don't. If you want to wear cool boots, I'm not going to say no to any person who has cool boots who are like, I have an opportunity to wear my cool boots because those are cool boots. But I'm not going to say those are not historically accurate. I
So,
remember people like dealing with. I used to know some Civil War reenactors, and there was groups that would walk around and like pull a thread off a costume and light it on fire to see if it melted.
oh,
And I'm like, because it was cotton, it would just burn.
yes.
And I'm like, that's that. No,
Um, there's a little bit of lag. Um, as I'm seeing people say, "What if hear me out? I don't have a cool coat." Chat's in
folk,
the weather question.
folk. Then it's just your excuse to go buy one.
There you go.
Half the point of LARP is to have an excuse to expand your wardrobe.
I'm guessing we won't have to worry about our clothes getting ruined by buckets of fake blood this time.
No, not in the same way. No. The night in question, we have blood showers and blood buckets and all this other stuff, so it's a bit different. It's a different vibe. Splatterpunk as opposed to cosmic horror.
So, but serious though, on shoes, if I roll up in my New Balances, no one's gonna yell at me.
No, though I probably would recommend you at least go with like those black Skechers. You
Okay,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
at least cover them in duct tape so they look like boots. Like,
There you go. But
um,
1930s is like the fashion's pretty modern. Like you can wear tank tops in 1930. You can wear like most normal shoes in 1930. Not tennis shoes, but most like normal like black shoes and stuff like that, and no one will notice.
so if I show my shoulder, I will not be burned at the stake.
No, no.
Well,
The
maybe
20s
burned
have
by the
already
sun.
passed. The you have all that liberation of women's fashion and all that. And
Incredible.
you know. Also, let's face it, the lower classes never had the same rules as about fashion.
That is
It
fair.
was very different.
That is fair. Um, on the topic of fashion, will it be recommended to not wear expensive items in case they get dirty or bloody? So that kind of bounced off the other.
Yeah, I mean, it
That's always
it's a
at your own
dust.
risk.
Yeah, it's outside. It's dusty. It's got dirt roads. It might get muddy if it rains. Plan accordingly. Don't wear silk probably.
Wear my
Um
fanciest clothes.
yeah. Wear something that can be washed, but most modern clothes can be washed, so yeah.
500 points to the player in ostrich leather. That's so funny.
Jesus.
Look at fashion points. uh, sorry, now I'm thinking of like there being like an actual points system, but no, the points are mundanes we made along the way.
But it's the souls we created the other day.
Yeah.
Practical question, will there be restrooms? Yes, there are restrooms at the site. There is a toilet restroom and there'll be porta potties.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys enforce the porta potty rule of closing the lid? It's very important and
We'll
not
mention
always
it.
put out there. It's
We'll
very
mention it.
important. It needs to be, if there is one thing that if that has not already been applied to your games, let me be the guy that's like, put the lid down.
Yeah.
It's how they work.
That's an experienced Rennie right there
It's
saying
how
that.
they work. Oh my god, it's the worst because like you work at a Renaissance fair and they tell the staff, close the lid. It's how the like chimney works. That's how they don't smell. And then you go to like the ones that all the public uses and it's two different experiences. Terrible. Oh my goodness. Yes, Red Fairy lid down always. But the thing is, not everyone knows
I'm
that.
glad we're tackling the tough subjects, the
It's
important subjects.
look, we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot, and I think that is probably one of the most important subjects. Honest to God. It's very important. Bathroom etiquette in
Mhm.
places where there are portable toilets. That goes
What
out in
will
the
the
email.
food situation be like through the weekend? We're looking at getting a food truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, food. That's a really good question, actually. So food truck, and then is the food truck just going to be operational at all hours?
It depends. We're negotiating that whether it's just gonna be dinner and then they're gonna shut down or whatever.
Cool.
So we're gonna figure that out.
Cool. Very cool. Oh, and then everybody eats in the middle of town like a bunch of pilgrims. That's so fun.
Yep.
We
Well,
have
there's a
one
dance
long
hall.
table that runs down the street.
Well, you joke, but there's a dance hall with a bunch of picnic tables and stuff in it that you can eat in, as
Ooh.
well as the saloon with tables. So you can take your meal anywhere.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. So the food truck will be parked behind the saloon.
Don't have those details yet. Don't have those details yet.
Sorry guys, I'm gonna go to the saloon. Walks around the back. Is oh, that's actually something interesting. Is it advisable for like, a food truck will probably have like foam containers and plastic utensils? Is it like a thing where it's like hide the modern technology or
It's gonna be pretty much just have a blind spot about it. Just
cool?
don't question it.
Wow,
Just
look at
let
that
it
foam
slide.
container made out of wood.
Yeah, just leave people alone when they're eating. It's kind of like one of the things that we have is that if you know you're supposed to ignore something, it's pretty simple to ignore it. Like our staff wears high vis vests, like construction worker vests,
Hmm.
because you immediately look at that and it said, I'm not supposed to react to that. And you just keep going. There's no doubt whether or not this person is out of character or not. You're just like, oh, I should ignore that. And you move on.
um on the topic of fancy, you have to remember 1930s is coming off of a major economic break in society, so fancy isn't really happening in the Dust Bowl. That is true.
Yeah, maybe soiled fancy, like
Oh yes,
leftovers from a previous
pre-stain.
time. Yeah.
Hand me downs
Exactly.
from the ancestors. So what I'm hearing is that there will be dancing.
Possibly. There's going to be a hootenanny.
A hootenanny? Is there music?
We're gonna find we are talking about maybe having live music, but there's gonna be music one way or the other.
Very cool. Very cool. Look, I
Recorded
play
music was a thing, so
I play a mean ukulele. I won the bard competition at Dragonfest this year.
I don't know when the ukulele became a thing in American culture. That would be
Anything is
interesting to
possible.
know. Someone research ukulele. Someone go to Wikipedia and look up
Quick,
ukuleles.
let us know. I'd bring my guitar, but I can't afford the second checked bag. But if someone brings the guitar, I'll get my hands on that real fast. Um, what run fair are you going to? Which we're talking about run fair?
People are talking about porta johns like way too much.
Hey, it's important. You brought it up. It is key. It is key to the experience. Very important. Um, I'm gonna say we haven't really like determined like a real like end time on this little chatter, but my normal stream does actually start in about 12ish 13 minutes. Um just saying. But like
Well,
I'm trying to think like are there any like good like wrap up questions we want to put a little pretty bow on this?
I just want a wrap up statement, I guess. Though I will
Yeah.
answer one question quickly. Yes, you can bring offsite food. There's no food restrictions at the site, other than you can't cook because of fire. Um, but just as a wrap up statement, like it's been really great to see the energy and the excitement coming from the community about this game. And I'm glad that we've kind of hit a nerve about something that people are interested in and want to participate in. And we're just overwhelmed with the amount of support we have, and we really look forward to creating this experience. And is it going to have rough spots? Yes, it's a brand new game, but we think that it's going to be a really, really enlightening one, and one that a lot of different people will enjoy. And I really appreciate both, your personal support and the support of the community at large. So
Oh, I said to you before we kind of got into this that like I am honored that I get to sit here and talk with you about this. to go a little bit more into like me and who I am, like again, I am a storyteller. Like when I see a strong narrative and I see like a strong potential for a narrative, like I gotta bite on it. And it's very clear that the stuff that you guys do at your games, like you don't cut corners. You're very detailed. You are there for having the like intense moments, but also being safe about it. Like you can't ask for more. um I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be there, and honestly at this point very excited to meet the people who are in the chat this evening.
Y'all are just y'all are something. Let's just say that. I'll be very Texan and say y'all are just something to somebody, aren't you?
Y'all are just something to somebody.
But
Guitar request might be granted. Yes. Yes. I have, is it this way? It's this way. I have my like little guy back here. But oof.
get yourself some country swing.
I'd bring it if it fit in my suitcase.
We'll
But it
figure
won't.
it out. I'm sure we can figure it out.
Ooh. Um, but 1920s and 1930s for peak ukulele popularity.
Interesting.
I can bring
Interesting.
it. I can bring it. That doesn't sound like a
Behold the uke. Behold the uke.
no.
Man, we're lagging a lot
I know.
on Twitch, like a
On
lot.
the Twitch end, it's a little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
I'll do this. The Instagram is where, yeah, it's like 3 minutes. It's like 3 minutes slow. What's your favorite memory from one of your LARPs and the one you hope to top this time around? Ooh.
Oh, you're asking me to pick from all my children.
And pick your
Um,
favorite child.
yeah, pick my favorite child. I mean, it's always been moments where everyone came together. I mean, my favorite moment of any LARP is the end, where everybody like turns to each other and hugs and realizes they went through an amazing experience uh, together. That's my favorite part of any LARP. As far as moments in the LARP, I mean, there's been like the amazing cage fights at the night in question. There's been the ending of the Cyberpunk Night City game where people sacrifice themselves in order to save the city. There's been great emotional moments throughout the game, and I just hope to have moments that matter to the players. Like that's what I really want in the game is for people to say, "Wow, that was transformative. That was amazing. That felt real." And I felt connected to that, and I felt connected to my fellow players, and I felt like I've gone through a real experience, and that's really what I want out of LARPs more than anything.
Yeah, that's I can already tell. I mean, with the way that you are conducting this, like the way, like historically, with the way that it's being written, um, I think you're very clearly putting the effort into making those experiences be impactful, and I think it just kind of goes without saying that it's going to happen. Um, Good question. How can we follow y'all on your various platforms, y'all included?
The company is JackalopeLARP on all socials, and is on and I am Matt Stormcrow on all socials.
Yes, and I am Majora's Rose here on Twitch and on Instagram, although that one's a little bit of a like a dead. It's not dead, but it's like I put all my stuff into the social media. My at Rachel Cordell, which is across all social media, and I'm just there doing things.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just having a great time. I'm talking a lot about this right now because I'm obsessed. Um, to
Yes,
be honest.
obsession. Obsession.
I look, if there's one thing about the ADHD, it's that hyperfixation just really get me, you know? But yeah, at Rachel Cordell, and then of course I gotta shout out my podcast RP Jesters, which is a TTRPG actual play. We just finished up a game called Blood on the Reeds, which features the Old Gods of Appalachia campaign. Um as well as we just started a new game called Lost Requiem, which features a new system that's coming out on Kickstarter called Dance Macabre, which is another, actually, if you're into historical content, it is the time frame. It's like the Constantinople like time, but there's like basically God has abandoned the world,
Wow.
and there's a lot of like supernatural, like religious trauma stuff. I'm. It's such a good story already. We've only recorded a couple sessions, and I am obsessed with it. So definitely go check it out. The first episode actually just dropped on Monday.
Fantastic.
So
I love it.
yeah.
You can also find me. Hello. Thank
Focus.
you. You can also find me on playing a vampire on occasion on Folk and Myths channel. So go follow him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm also on Folk and Myth too. We're just gonna give a little shout out, like a little actual official shout out to Folk and Myth, at least on the Twitch chat here.
Let me
Um,
play my Sabbat again.
let our Sabbats meet. Armada needs to meet your character so bad.
Absolutely. You're playing one of the Lilins, right?
The
No.
no.
Yeah. No. Okay. No, that's a different group of Sabbat.
No. I'm my own troublemaker. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, if you guys want to check out more AP content that features both of us, definitely go follow Folk and Myth, because minted creator, honest to God.
Bleak is fantastic.
Bleak is fantastic, and everything that they do, love it.
But phenomenal.
Phenomenal. We're just a good energy today.
We're very giving with the energy.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I guess at this point, with no further questions, Matt, thank you so much for joining me here and chatting me about all of this. Um,
Thank you so much for having us. It's been amazing it's been a great conversation.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I mean, I'm sure there's more to talk about. And of course, like if you have any further questions, you can always reach out across the social medias and ask them as necessary. But having this little town hall was absolutely fantastic.
Reach across the Twitches and the blue skis and
Mm.
the all the other 10 billion things we have now. Old man shakes fist at cloud.
And yeah, so at this point, anyone who feels like hanging out, I'm going to end stream and then basically restart stream in a couple minutes. And I'm gonna this is my normal stream time for anyone who hangs out on Twitch and watches like gameplay and crazy stuff. Yeah, follow me on Twitch here, Majora's Rose, and yeah, I think we're gonna play Peak. So if you want to watch me climb a mountain real bad, get ready for it.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna probably let the lag play out in the ending screen here, but that's gonna be it for us. Again, Matt, thank you so much. Bye.